So it's no more a village DJ. DJ. All right, after the count of three, DJ, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Both tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians hope and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall lead us in. When you get to your shop, play that.
You don't put yourself.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, MFR, DSN, FNIPR, FNIIA, PSC, DAGA. He is unavoidably absent and attending to a compelling and unavoidable engagement in Lagos, and has asked that he should be represented. And today he is ably represented by the National Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Customs Service, who is the chief image maker and by extension, the national spokesperson of the Nigerian Customs Service. Assistant Comptroller of Customs, Aliyu Abdullahi Maiwada, MNIIA, MNIPR, PhD. The head of the Special Wildlife Office under the Customs Intelligence Unit, Assistant Comptroller of Customs, Anuhu Samaila Mani, PSC. Deputy National Public Relations Officer, Chief Superintendent of Customs, titles Amagali, ANIPR, the NCBN Liaison Officer here present, representative of the Chief Webmail Officer of the NCS Public Relations Unit Headquarters, senior officers here present, officers of the Public Relations Unit here present, members of the press, the largest constituency for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Assistant Superintendent of Customs, 1, Opanachi Adejo, representing the National PRO, who is representing the CGC for today. The Nigerian Customs Service, through the Customs Intelligence Unit and its Special Wildlife Office, achieved a great feat, made a major interception. And today, we are here in a milestone event, and we will be showcasing the interceptions to later be handed over to the relevant agency. Without taking much of our time, which has been taken already, permit me to bring up the representative of the Comptroller General of Customs. So in the next few minutes, when he will be reading the CGC's address, do not see him as the PRO, National PRO of Customs. Rather, see him as the one, as the special emissary for the CGC over the period of reading the address of the CGC. Let's welcome Assistant Comptroller of Customs, Abdullahi Aliyu Maiwada, MNIPR, MNIIA, PhD, as it comes. I just said PhD, and it's Malga, and you're not laughing.
the head of Wildlife Office, Assistant Comptroller of Customs Money, the Deputy National PRO, and my respected colleagues, gentlemen of the press. Sometimes I see myself as a journalist, sometimes as a public relations officer. So we are all in the business of communication, but we are communicating differently. I am reading this speech on behalf of the Comptroller General of Customs, who is unavoidably absent. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I welcome you all to this press briefing aimed at informing the general public about the Nigeria Customs Service's latest seizure of prohibited wildlife products, and to give a broader perspective on our ongoing enforcement efforts through our Special Wildlife Office. This briefing also demonstrates our commitment to protecting endangered species, preserving our biodiversities, and upholding Nigeria's obligation under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna, called CITES. In recent years, the Nigeria Customs Service has scaled up its anti-smuggling trafficking, anti-wildlife trafficking specifically, operations through the establishment of the Special Wildlife Office, SWO, domiciled within the Customs Intelligence Unit. This specialized operation is saddled with intelligence gathering, profiling, investigation, and coordinated enforcement targeting transnational criminal networks that profit from exploitation of endangered wildlife species. With support from local and international partners, the Special Wildlife Office has recorded commendable successes. We work in active partnership with Wildlife Conservative Society, WCS, which has provided dedicated warehouses in selected locations across Nigeria for secure storage of intercepted specimens. Similarly, the service collaborates with Focus Conservation, the Wildlife Justice Commission, WJS, and maintains joint task force engagement with key domestic and international security agencies, including NDLA, EFCC, Nigeria Police Force, Interpol, as well as the Office of the National Security Advisor, among others. These partnerships have deepened intelligence sharing, leading to high-profile interceptions and successful prosecutions. In line with these efforts, I'm pleased to inform you that on Friday, 5th June 2025, at approximately 21:00 hours, operatives of the Nigeria Customs Service, acting on credible intelligence, intercepted a 1x40-feet container loaded with donkey genitals along the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. The interception was carried out under the coordinated surveillance by officers of the Special Wildlife Office, Customs Intelligence Unit, further confirming the persistence of illegal wildlife trafficking networks in exploiting Nigeria's corridors. After proper documentation and compilation, the seized items will later be officially handed over to the National Environmental Standard and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, at this location later in the day. In line with our commitment to interagency collaboration and statutory mandates. This seizure is not an isolated incident. Over the past 12 months, the Special Wildlife Office has uncovered and disrupted multiple illicit wildlife trafficking operations across the country. Noteworthy among these include the recovery of 6 African grey parrots and the arrest of 1 suspect on 10th December 2024 at Kano, the interception of 2 live pangolins, 5 Mona monkeys, 2 Tantalus monkeys, 1 baby baboon, and an African grey parrot at Lagos Airport in May 2025. In another separate operations, there was an arrest of one suspect in Ecom area of Cross River State, linked to seizure of 213 parrots heads, 6 eagle heads, 128 hornbill heads, and other exotic species. On 13 January 2025, the service handed over a rescued tortoise to National Park Service in Oyo State. Several seizures involving specimens such as life-size lions, zebra hides, gorilla parts, and pangolin scales have been recorded in various ports and logistic routes nationwide. One such case involved 119.4 kilograms of pangolin scales found in a container concealed in sacks around Calabar area of Cross River State. In another development, 120 African grey parrots were rescued and one suspect arrested at Fufuri area of Adamawa State. These figures underscores the scale, sophistication, and profitability of the illegal wildlife trade. The Nigeria Customs Service considers this as an issue of national importance, not only from an ecological standpoint, but also because wildlife trafficking is increasingly linked with other forms of organized crimes, including money laundering, arms smuggling, and illicit currency flows. The service, under the leadership of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, MFR, and his able management team, is investing in capacity building, digital surveillance, species identification, and cross-border enforcement frameworks to combat this menace. Our wildlife office's investigations include digital forensics and phone analysis of suspects. This has strengthened our evidence base with several prosecutions currently on the way. In closing, I wish to assure Nigerians and the international community that the Nigeria Customs Service is resolute in enforcing the provision of the Nigeria Customs Service Act 2023, CITES, which is Convention in International Trade on Endangered Species, and other national environmental laws. We urge the public, especially those in border communities and logistic hubs, to report suspicious movement of wildlife products. The fight against wildlife crime requires sustained collaboration, vigilance, and unyielding commitment to justice. On behalf of the Comptroller General and the management of the Nigeria Customs Service, I commend the gallant officers of the Special Wildlife Office, the Customs Intelligence Unit, as well as Customs Police Units, and all our strategic partners for their contributions. The service will continue to provide updates on future developments and prosecutions as they unfold. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all the best.
All right, please, a round of applause once again for that wonderful delivery and address. Okay, we'll take questions, very few questions, 2-3 questions. We'll go for the vote of thanks and inspection. Any question? Okay. Let me we'll take all the questions together before the CG will respond.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm calling from NCA. Thank you very much. Well, let me ask you, what is the duty paid value of this seizure? Then secondly, so an average trader in Nigeria State, Does he know that trading in such in a crime or is against the law? Can you tell us that?
Okay, who's next? Okay.
Thank you. My name is Mark from Leadership. This national PRO, sir. I want to, is it possible to know from what destination and where this, sir? From Leadership newspapers. I want to know if from what destination to and where this particular 1 feet or 40 feet container was heading to, and if possible, is it can we know the persons behind this trafficking? Any arrests? Has any arrests been made in connection with this?
Good afternoon, my national PRO and the representative of the CJ. I needed to know precisely, you make reference to the fact that there's a connection between wildlife trafficking and organized crimes. I needed to know, with this your current raid and these documentations you give me currently, were there any specific link in terms of perhaps someone who was carrying a wildlife also connected to this organized crime that you are lighted, just as fraud?
Okay. All right, I think that will be all for now.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are not. We have never performed any transaction of genitals of donkeys to be able to determine the street value of the genitals of a donkey. So, the issue of DPV, now the duty payment, I did dutable items in the first instance, and the value of those items, I think, will be another subject of another investigation will determine what will be the value. As you know, they are perishable items and they are in a refrigerated container. So the more you keep it in trying to know the value, the more it will get spoiled. So we don't really have the value. Then you mentioned about is that on DPV or CJOS? And what? Okay, thank you. I can recall now. Now, the awareness, the issue of awareness. Now, in every of our engagement, there are items, if you go to export prohibition lists, you will realize there are items that are not allowed for export, or you go to import prohibition list. Now, there are all items classified as endangered species. You are not supposed to trade in those items and in the parts or body of those items. And those items are well classified. Donkeys are among those that are almost going into extinction, and we must preserve our nature. This is something that is very critical and very important. But education is very important. A hunter will tell you that he is a hero to kill a lion. But in other climes, for instance, go to Kenya, where their wildlife are their national heritage. That's what they use to get income. You realize the way they protect their wildlife. In fact, I would say they protect them to the best of their ability. So we need to understand the precarious nature of, degrading these biodiversities, either the wildlife, either the plants or animals. So those items classified are not really supposed to be traded in. The export or the trade in those items is prohibited, and we are bound to enforce that law. Now, what do we need to do? We need to at least upscale our sensitization in local language to host communities, border communities, to understand why we shouldn't trade in these species. So we are doing what we are doing, but I think there's always room for improvement. And we look forward to have a more robust sensitization and engagement with local communities, which I've stated in the last paragraph of my speech, that we need their support in the fight against these items. Now, the next question is origin and destination. Investigation is ongoing. As soon as it's completed, we will be able to know the destination and origin of these items. I will have.
Arrest?
That's what I want. I don't want to. Then the issue of connecting movement of illicit funds to this. If you realize Nigeria is in a grey list, and that grey list is what we want to get out of. And part of the problem we are facing is movement of cash, illicit funds. And we are working hard to make sure that this is also brought to the barest minimum. You can see a lot of interception of funds in our airports, a lot of interception of funds in our airports, in our border stations, and so on. So if you realize you can't use legitimate source of money to procure these items, converge them in a particular location and move them out of the country. So there are connections between some of the pangolin skills we intercept, some come from Central African Republic through Cameroon to Nigeria. Nigeria will be used as a transit hub to move these items out of the country via our ports. So those are some of the interceptions now. If you look at the movement of cash, the movement of these items, there is a close connectivity between some of these crimes and other form of criminality. This is well established, and I don't need to give a lecture on that. Now, the issue of suspect, it's an abundant seizure. There is no suspect, but investigation is ongoing to train those who are behind this. This is caught in a vehicle. That vehicle will have a registration number, and we have a way of doing our forensic analysis and so many ways to get to those who are involved. In terms of prosecutions, I've stated earlier, we have got some convictions earlier last year, and there are so many prosecutions ongoing in court to make sure that we nip this on the bud. I think I've tried to address some of the questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, a round of applause once again for the representative of the Comptroller General of Customs. For now, he's the CGC's rep. When we get back to the office, he will become the national PRO again. All right, quickly, we will make progress. The Special Wildlife Office, we just want to deliver a vote of thanks before we go for the inspection of the items. And that will be done by the head of the Wildlife Office under the Customs Intelligence Unit in the person of Assistant Comptroller of Customs, Anuhu Samaila Mandi. Please a round of applause as he comes to do this.
Of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, MFR PSC Daga, ably represented by the National PRO. Esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is my honor and privilege to address you today and to appreciate your taking out time to cover this very important milestone for the Nigerian Customs Service Special Wildlife Office, which is under the Customs Intelligence Unit. We have a brief. So, when they were putting the date, not all of us are. All right, thank you. The Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, MFR PSC Daga, ably represented by the National PRO of the service, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen of the press. It is my honor and privilege to address you today as we reflect on the achievements of the Special Wildlife Office under the Nigerian Customs Intelligence Unit and the achievements in the last 6 months, coming from December 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Since its inception, our mission has been clear: to protect Nigeria's rich heritage, biodiversity, and combat illegal wildlife trade. We are also to uphold our national obligations under the Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna and other conservation agreements signed by Nigeria. I'm proud to report that with dedication, strategic partnership, and unwavering commitment, we have significant headway in this vital fight. In the last 6 months alone, we have rescued over 220 live animals, endangered animals for that matter. We have also seized over 6,000 kg of pangolin scales, 37 taxidermies, and the latest behind me are donkey genitals. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that we have 10,603 genitals in the container behind me, which represents 10,603 donkeys killed. In the course of these 6 months, we have apprehended 10 suspects. We have secured 1 successful conviction. 9 cases are ongoing in the courts now. Our efforts have been bolstered through strategic partnership with the Federal Ministry of Environment, Nigerian Police Force, NESRIA, and other government agencies. We also have international support from the World Customs Organization, Interpol, and UNODC. We want to also acknowledge our partners, the NGOs, Focus Conservation, World Wildlife Conservation Society, World Parrot Trust, Green Fingers, and Pandrulas, as well as our neighboring country enforcement agencies who have been partners in this fight. We have established a dedicated intelligence unit that leverages on modern technology, including surveillance, forensic analysis. Moreover, several custom officers and prosecutors have undergone training to sharpen their skills in wildlife crime detection and investigation, courtesy of Focus Conservation and Wildlife Conservation Society. In recognizing the importance of community involvement and with the support of our partners, we launched an awareness campaign across vulnerable regions of the country. As you may be aware, most of these things that are arrested are not indigenous to Nigeria. They do come into Nigeria on transit. So therefore, we have been engaging the rural communities and border communities where these things have been coming through, make them aware of the threat that this has to our environment. While we celebrate successes, we acknowledge that much more work remains. The threat of wildlife crime continues to evolve, demanding our ongoing vigilance and innovation. Moving forward, we aim to expand our reach, strengthen legal frameworks, and foster greater regional and international cooperation. In conclusion, I want to express my deepest gratitude to the ladies and gentlemen of the press for having time to be here. Our dedicated officers of the Special Wildlife Office, other customs officers, especially the Customs Police Unit, government agencies, and our partner NGOs. Together we can ensure that Nigeria's wildlife heritage endures for a generation. Ladies and gentlemen, if we do not sustain our environment, I'm sorry to say our environment will not sustain us. Thank you for your commitment. God bless the Special Wildlife Office. God bless the Customs Intelligence Unit. God bless the Nigerian Customs Service. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
The extension will give a kind of because the place is not really much habitable.
The
National anthem.
okay. All right, we'll do the national anthem, then we'll go straight to the inspection. So that after the inspection, we'll be coming back, please, for a parley, off-camera parley between myself and the journalists. So please, let's be off standing for the national anthem, so that after the inspection, we can come back quickly for the parley. DJ, after the count of 3, please, let's be fast to go. After the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go. Thank you. Let's do the. Don't worry, DJ, you have been overtaken. Let's do the inspection. The national PRO, the representative, and the head of will lead the. Please, let's not be too close. Let's make way for them. Journalists, hold on. We'll attend to you later. Please allow us to do the inspection. Madam Quest News and Madam, allow us to do the inspection, please. Later we'll come to that. After the inspection, please.
Thank God you're receiving
Okay, well, let's quickly open. Please, you have to go back to the coronavirus era before you come close. Your nose mask, your hand gloves. Please, let's go behind, please.
Journalists want to see for their eyes.
Yes.
Believe that it is what we said inside. So they want to see it. Seeing is believing.
So, the NPL has said it all that journalists will always want to see, and that seeing is believing. So go close and see. At least, many of us for the first time in our lives are seeing something genocide.
For environmental sake, our head sake.
What you go inside?
Cameraman, you can go inside, please. Reporter, you can go inside.
Channels, go and see now.
Bros, have fun.
How will you give them?
Go inside now so you can take it.
Please, can we... journalists, please, let's come this way. No, not here, this way. Okay, let's shift. Please. PR unit officers, please, let's come close. Let's come close. Come this way, this way. Hello, please, this way. Let's switch here. Please, let's bring the chairs. Mohammed, move some chairs from that side. Ilya, move chairs from that side to this side. Yes, please sit down. Please, let's come and sit. Please, off camera, please. Completely off the camera. Just sit down.
I hope they're off now.
Please, let's come closer. Shift it. Turn it.